Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Trading Options Network. Oh, today's been fun. But that being said, before we go get into anything, we have to go through our disclaimer. Everything we discuss is solely for educational purposes only, is not the opinion of Trading Options Network. It is solely my personal opinion. That being said, with this information, do whatever you want with it, but take responsibility for your actions, for your trades. Of course, go ahead to follow, or subscribe on your favorite social media platform to stay up to date with everything that's Trading Options Network. That being said, boom. All right, guys. There is a reason I am starting here today, mainly because I forgot to talk about the unemployment claims this morning that I wanted to discuss, as well as the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. So unemployment came in a little bit higher than expected, which in a market where bad news is good news and good news is good news, the market did jump up a little bit. It gapped up this morning. It did start green. As we can see here, let's actually go back to the day. Here we are. If we look at where we finished yesterday, right about here, we can clearly see that it gapped up to start the day, but has pretty much sold off for the rest of the day. So we're pretty red. We also had the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, which came in super, super high compared to what we were expecting. We were expecting a number of 2.7. Anything over 0 is considered good. It's like growth. 13.9 is kind of ridiculous. If it was under 0, it would be essentially bad for the economy. But the weird part about this is, this has been, well, I guess we did have this number here, this random number, which is what, 15.5 back in April. And then we have 13.9 here. Back then, we were expecting a 1.5, so that came in super, super high. But we haven't seen a number like these two numbers. I guess, there's this 12 spot here back in August of 2023. And then before that, it was April 2022. So I don't necessarily know how to take this. Is it going to be another one-off, kind of like April and last July, and the rest is going to be low or down? I don't know. It's very, very strange that it came in super high. But again, numbers like this are usually good for the market. And again, the market did gap up this morning. But so why is it selling off? Well, obviously there's a lot of stress on tech right now. There's a lot of stress on communication services right now. If we go ahead and look at those charts here. So here's communication services has been just selling off, as well as tech has been too. So here's the tech, big sell-offs, right? And those two with Meta and, of course, NVIDIA and Microsoft and all these companies that are so highly weighted in the S&P, it's going to cause the market to go down. That's why S&P has been selling off. But also, if we look here, Lori Logan spoke today at 1:45 Eastern Time. That is 12:45 where I'm at, 10:45 if you're on the West Coast. But if we were to go ahead and look at the chart here as well, let's go ahead and look at the 5-minute chart. That was right about here, okay? And it's just been going just sell off, sell off, sell off. Yeah, we sold off early as well. We did also have, I keep clicking on that one, the CB leading index, which in all reality, yeah, it's a yellow for impact. It's not going to have a huge impact, but it seems like today it maybe did. Don't really know why. It kind of came in line, maybe slightly higher than what was expected. Natural gas storage came in really, really low. Perhaps that was another reason why, but again, typically that would be a low impact. And so is Logan. When Lori Logan came up and spoke, no one was expecting to have much of an impact on the market. But the bottom line is, at about 10:30, which would have been when the natural gas storage. So perhaps this is what caused that. But the funny thing about that, if we were to go ahead and look back over at our screener here, we go ahead and look at the energy sector. All right, energy has been doing just fine. Okay, So I don't know exactly why the market decided to sell off earlier today, but it did. And then it started bouncing, and then Lori Logan spoke, and then boom, it's selling off again. Can't tell you exactly why it's happening. I don't know exactly what Lori Logan said, but if she said anything what the other members of the FOMC department has been talking about, it's basically like, hey, we understand everything is moving in the right place, but that does not mean we're going to jump the gun and do anything earlier than expected. And if that's the case, then people are getting disappointed because they want rate cuts sooner rather than later. And it almost sounds like the Fed is not going to give them what they want. And people are obviously reacting to that. So, again, we don't know. If we look at the heat map, lots and lots of red today, a ton of red, more so than just, the big names. In fact, NVIDIA and Meta are actually both green today, while a lot of the other ones, Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, are all red. But these smaller companies that have been green lately are all pretty red as well. So it's just a huge, huge sell-off today. Again, I don't know exactly why. It's just one of those days. I think people are starting to get a little fearful of the market. If we look at the VIX, by the way, too, the VIX is spiking hard. I forgot the VIX is not on here. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Back off here. Let's maximize this guy and look at the VIX. All right, look at this. The VIX is up 12%. That is a volatility index, people. 12% today. Yesterday it was up quite a bit as well. Let's see. From the close the previous day, which would have been Tuesday, it closed at 13.19. Then yesterday it closed at 14.48. So that's almost a 10% gain in and of itself. So we had a 10% gain yesterday. Now we're looking at a 12% jump today. That is a lot. That is the definition of people getting scared. Now, if we look over here, it jumped and then it came down hard. And then it spiked here and then it came down hard. And then it spiked here and then it came down hard. Do we see this again where it spikes up and then it comes down hard over the next few days? Time will tell. Time will tell. I think where it's more likely to do that than not likely to do that. Perhaps we hang up here for a couple of days. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go much higher than this. But, again, if we're in a pullback, then we're in a pullback. If we're in just a, shoot, it looks like it wants to go down even further now too. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's go. And let's talk about this now. All right, so big red candle today. As of right now, it does look like we are below the 20. It's nasty. It sucks. But ultimately, I think this is going to be a good thing for the market. It's going to allow us to get into positions at a better price point if we go ahead and monitor our trades. One thing I wanted to actually point out, let's go back to the charts. Let's get rid of that guy. Let's come up over here, maximize this one. ALB, I absolutely love this. Again, I said yesterday that this is going to be more bearish than bullish. This indicator right here, this candlestick, indicates that it's going to be more bearish than bullish. And yes, I thought early on this morning, I was like, well, I guess it's going to go against, the technical analysis here, and it's going to go green. But nope, sure enough, it sold off. And the funny thing about that is it sold off right around that $98 mark again. It's high, $98.22. So just like the last 2 days. Here it wasn't quite that high. Actually, yes, it was 98.09. Yesterday actually hit 99.26. Okay, so it got a little bit higher than 98. But I was talking about in the last few days at 98, I thought was a pretty key price point. And neither day of those 3 days was it able to cross 98 and stay above 98. And that's when yesterday it actually crossed 99 and it still could not hold above 98. That's weakness if I've ever seen it. So I'm really liking this position. And if we go ahead back over here, let's close that one up. We are positive 594 on the day. So we are back to being positive on ALB. I love it. I love it a lot. Also, COHR, Coherent Corporation, if we go ahead and look at this one, look at this bounce that it's having. Obviously, it's still red and it's still nowhere near where we want it to be. But dude, if we go ahead and Let's look at the 5-minute chart. Look at this rebound it had from 72.07, and it crossed back over $74. That is a big jump, especially when the market was selling off pretty much this entire time. I love this. That is actually really good for us, just simply due to the fact that this could have continued to go down, but it didn't. It's jumping up. That's great for our position. So I'm happy with that. We still have, 29 days now, I believe, till expiration? Yeah, 29 days. More than enough time to rebound and recapture a little bit of loss there. And I think we will. RCL, I'm loving this as well. Again, we're getting to that point, and I know I discussed it. I want to see what it's going to do tomorrow first, okay? Because unless it jumps significantly tomorrow, we should not have to worry about the 170 strike coming into play. I mean, we're at 163.34. I do not think the 170 strike is going to come into play. I think we could essentially allow it to expire worthless. But what I am thinking about doing is, if we're far enough away from 170, we might just, like I said, let it expire worthless. We won't even roll it, but we will go ahead and sell the 167.50 call, and we're going to convert essentially what was a diagonal spread into a calendar spread, and hopefully get at least another $2, maybe $2.25. As of right now, if we were to split this down the middle for a kind of a midpoint of this bid-ask spread, we'd be at $2.30. So we can get an additional $2.30 in premium here per trade. I like that. So that would give us 8. So that's another $1,600 essentially. Now, if it goes over 167.50, no big deal. We close the trade for a nice profit. Okay. If it closes below 167.50, then we will reassess where we're at and possibly sell the following week's, or I should say we will sell a following week's strike against these calls as well. So I like what it's doing. I really do. I think we're going to make money on this trade when it's all said and done, even though right now it says we're down 648. And again, ignore this 3104. It is obviously a glitch on the Thinkorswim platform. We are not down $3,000 on the day on this trade. But nonetheless, the last one we're going to talk about is SOXX. Now, SOXX also, I meant to go to the chart. It was coming back, and now we're back down here again. Again, we do have a whole month to go, so we're going to just kind of have to play this one by ear. And if we go ahead and look at NVIDIA, I know NVIDIA was coming back. I think it's actually still green. Yeah, it looks like it's actually wanting to go back down a little bit now. Let's get the 5-minute chart. Oof. Let's go ahead and do like a zoom in here. All right, so that's what's happening on the day. Definitely nice bounce here. Very nice bounce. It is NVIDIA after all. People are going to go nuts for it. It is everybody's favorite stock right now. So I'm not surprised that it is green today on such a nasty day. But we are still in what looks like a pullback for NVIDIA. Now, another thing I wanted to point out, I'm just going to zoom in here really quick. Both of these came right down towards this line here that I had as support, and neither one of them was able to get below it. That is a good sign for NVIDIA. Great sign, actually. Not to mention, we also have, I'll zoom right back in again, the bottom Bollinger Band right here. Okay. The bottom Bollinger Band is acting as support. We have the 50-day acting as support. There is a ton of support for NVIDIA right now. So as long as NVIDIA does not continue to pull back any further, we should be okay with our SOXX trade. I know it looks a little bit bad because, let's face it, if we go back to our map here and we look at the semiconductors, we have AMD, you know, that Advanced Micro Devices is getting crushed. Micron's getting crushed. Broadcom, I remember it now. It's actually green. Qualcomm is down. So we do have a lot of redness in that specific ETF, semiconductor ETF. I'm wondering if, let's see here. There we go. Top 10 holdings. So Broadcom is actually number one right now. That's actually shocking to me. NVIDIA was dropped to 8.8%. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we opened this, NVIDIA was substantially higher in terms of the weight of this ETF. But I don't know. I could be wrong. But nonetheless, we have Broadcom, NVIDIA, AMD. Okay, red, a little bit green, and a little bit green. And then everything else after this is pretty red. Red, red. Intel's actually a little bit green. Red, red, red. So we can expect this to be red, bottom line. Okay? Especially when our third strongest, even though Broadcom and NVIDIA are green, 0.86% and 1.5%, AMD is down over 3%. That's pretty big. Qualcomm down 1%. Applied Materials down 2%. It's basically these three right here, AMD, Applied Materials, and Qualcomm, that are hurting this ETF. But again, if we come back over here and we see a lot of green here in the next few days, then there's zero reason to believe that SOXX, the ETF, the semiconductor ETF, won't bounce back. And a lot of things will follow NVIDIA, because even though, again, Broadcom is the number one weighted stock currently in the SOXX ETF, guarantee you if NVIDIA jumps, the rest are going to jump for the most part. So, yeah. I like where NVIDIA is at. Again, we might even jump into a position for NVIDIA itself, because we have all the support right below where we're at the moment. Again, if I put on the Bollinger Bands, that's acting to support. Gosh, I have the hiccups. I do apologize. Again, a lot of support there. A ton of support there. So I like NVIDIA. We just got to find a good time to get into this, and then I like SOXX to rebound. That's, you know, why I'm discussing this. COHR, again, I'm loving the fact that it had this nice jump. I'm going to talk about it one more time because I'm just so in love with that it did that. Ooh, gosh, I forgot I changed it to the arrow. Let's go ahead and get our finger back. All right. So again, come on. There we go. That's a little bit more better. All right. If it can close over this line here, which we're already back over 74, but if we can close back over this line, I'm going to be in heaven, because there's no reason to think that something that was over these last couple of days, I mean, it was down 10% in 2 days. That's a massive dump. But if it can come back and finish, you know, anywhere close to where we finished yesterday, hugely, hugely bullish. And we still have 30 minutes left until the market closes, until the bell sounds. So I'm really, really liking this. Everything I'm seeing here is, I guess with the exception of RCL. RCL is the one that just decided it wanted to go back down and test daily lows. ALB, though, we want that to go down. It's looking so sexy. Go down as much as you want, fool. COHR, it looks like it's bouncing even more. And then finally SOXX. Looks like it's bouncing a little bit as well here. So even though the market, if we look at it with kind of a without any guidance, I guess you could say, it's a scary market to look at. But when we really break it down, it's not as bad as it may seem right now. I mean, yes, we are down for the day. There's no doubt about that still, but we're not down much. And I have a feeling that ultimately we're going to be very, very green again, back to where we were last week, and we're going to like it. So keep an eye out for any rolled positions. I probably will not roll anything today. Again, I want to see where RCL goes tomorrow first. But keep an eye out for everything. And then, we're going to be patient. We're going to let the market set up good positions and opportunities for us. And then we are going to go ahead and jump in. But until then, we just have to sit on the sidelines and let the market do what it wants to do right now. So that being said, I will talk to you guys later. Tomorrow's Friday, so we don't have any trainings, but we will discuss everything that happened over the week on Saturday morning at the end of the week recap. But of course, if you do have any questions, concerns, comments, anything at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. Till we talk again, you guys have a great rest of your day and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.